Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and we're back with some more Crossout. I know what you're thinking. Isn't today normally a Dreadnought day? Well, yes, but I had some issues with trying to get a proper match in Dreadnought today, so that is postponed till tomorrow. So today you got another Crossout video, and hopefully things are kind of returned to normal from tomorrow onwards. So I realized yesterday there was only really one video up, and today's kind of going to be the same. It's just because I'm running short on time today, and I still want to give you guys some good videos. So of course, if you have any suggestions of games you'd like to see me play as well, please leave it down in the comments below. So anyway, what is today's build? Well, if you remember a while back, I actually did a build for a vehicle I named the Workhorse, which was then renamed to the Magic STRONK TRUK. If you haven't seen that, I will link it down in the description below, or you can click the link to the playlist and you'll know exactly which one I was talking about. It was the horse with no name at the time. And so I decided to make a variation on that, something that could still match the same power score in a slightly different way. So, what I have here is well, it's still a pickup cabin, and the reason I've gone with the pickup cabin again is because I've got 3 medium machine guns on here. Now, the damage output is actually fairly significant if you manage to hit the cabin. So, as far as killing enemies goes, not bad. It's actually not bad. And it's actually pretty good at stripping off some of the weaker parts on most of your enemies. If you notice, a lot of enemies are running around, including in PvE, a lot of enemies do tend to run around with grills and sorts, which don't actually have a lot of structure points, so these are actually very good for removing those. Now, you could swap these out with autocannons. The reason I prefer machine guns is really the sheer volume of fire means that you're more likely to score meaningful hits, at least in my opinion. Of course, some people prefer autocannons for that. I prefer the faster rate of fire from the machine guns over the single-shot damage that the autocannons put out, but it really is a matter of preference. So the 3 stack right here are all in a straight line, and normally I would stagger these, but these have actually worked out fairly well. It's kind of surprising. Now, I could, of course, put one... Oops, daisy. I could actually put one like so, and another one like that. And that would give us a similar field of fire. It doesn't really matter so much, actually, so I just sort of keep it that way for neatness sake, and of course the one in front can protect the ones behind, so it actually means that you're not as likely to get your weapons destroyed in the first bout. Now, of course, keeping them mounted on the cabin is what's really useful, and with the amount of armor and structure up front, we should be fairly defensible from the front. The only problem with this vehicle is it's fairly slow, and it really struggles to climb here. And that's because I put a weapon radiator on here instead of an engine. Normally I would put an engine. So you can see just how long we can fire with that weapon radiator on. It really does well with removing wheels, so if you know how to aim while on the move, it is actually pretty good at doing that. So all in all, it's still a fairly good vehicle. It just doesn't have the sort of speed that I would like it to have, but overall it's still not bad. There is a hazardous generator underneath there, giving us 2 extra points of energy, so that is helping us with keeping not just the medium machine guns online, but also with allowing us to put a wet radiator on there, which allows us to just have that fantastic amount of... Wasn't quite expecting that explosion, to be honest, but just allowing us to have that extra bit of firing threshold before they overheat. And of course, the pickup cabin, as I have mentioned many times before, has a very, very fast cooling rate as compared to other cabins. So let's get into a match and see what's what. Alrighty, here we go. So a very close quarters map to begin with. And actually, surprisingly, not one that I've tested this out on. So this is going to be interesting. Now, we have a lot of cannon-armed allies here, hoping not to run into too many of the missile-armed varieties here, but hopefully by staying behind most of our teammates, we should be quite okay with that. We're going to just run around here to the side, hoping to get around them there. Now, bearing in mind, this is a very sluggish vehicle. It weighs over 7 tons, so it is actually heavier, if I remember correctly, than the original workhorse. And part of that is due to just how heavy some of the parts are, and that's necessary to to provide it with the necessary structure points. You can see they're just chipping away at them, not really hitting the cabin, where it can do upwards of 35 damage a shot, equal to a 25mm cannon, actually. But as you can see, it also does roughly about 17 damage when a single cannon hits. Now we're just trying to assist our teammate here, and he's down. In fact, most of our team is also down, so we're really just trying to stay alive now. That is a bot. Now we do have 1,000 structure points, but I'm afraid that isn't going to help us too much because we've left the machine guns exposed and had it taken out by another machine gun user here. So this is going to be a very unceremonious end for us, unfortunately. So we can't even get up the slope now. So of course, one of the biggest issues of using machine guns on any build is really just the lack of single shot damage. While you can put up a sheer volume of fire, it really doesn't help you if you can only get a couple of shots on target. So you still have to be fairly accurate with them. Just not as much as you would definitely need to be with cannons or even auto cannons. So something to bear in mind there. You could run this build with heavy machine guns, but if we're using this for the same purpose as the original workhorse, then you know why rarer parts are simply not the best idea. Now it's interesting that we haven't run into anybody with pyre launchers yet, and I flipped myself over, which is kind of a problem because I should have gone down the slope and not off the cliff. So we'll be right back if and when we actually get flipped. Alright, so we didn't actually get flipped until right at the end, but thankfully that was a win for us. So even with absolutely no points to our name, he actually still did okay. Right, so now just kind of following the team over on right down here, and let's see what we can actually do when given the right amount of cover. So, oh, there's one already. And that's a lot of them. That is actually a lot more than I was expecting or hoping for. That's a guy armed with a cannon there, but he has enclosed it quite badly. And it doesn't appear that he's actually able to make full use of its traversion. And there's a bot there. Looks kind of like the Iron Talon promo vehicle, and that means it has exposed cabin sides. Which of course helps with us, of course. And this, unfortunately, doesn't. As that guy over there, I believe, is armed with an autocannon and is really badly chipping away at our armor. And now, of course, we've been disarmed, so there's not much we can really do with that. Alright, so we won that last one by capture, so that's a good win for us. And definitely the reason, of course, I died there was just by overextending and getting caught out in position that I should not have been in. And that's one of the big things about playing a vehicle like this, is you really want to be very careful about your positioning. You don't want to overextend because you really don't have the mobility to get out of a sticky situation if you find yourself in one. Of course, right now we have some enemies coming over the ridge there, and in fact the particular placing of the weapons on this actually makes it ideal for mid-range engagement, since of course they can't depress very far. They're actually capable of still firing horizontally for the most part. So that's actually still something that's fairly doable. The only thing is that of course its strongest angles are the ones where it is slightly off-center. Alright, we've got somebody on cap, so we're going to go back to the cap there and run. So remember I mentioned the pyre launchers before? Yeah, that's exactly what just got me. Alright, so yes, a very abrupt end to that round there, and a little known fact actually there. So we were getting capped out, but we won that last match, and the reason is, and a lot of people may not be aware of this, so if you see enemies capturing your base, if you enter the cap as well, the cap then becomes contested, and it then does not lose points. And this will happen regardless of the number of vehicles in the cap, so long as there are vehicles from opposite teams within the cap. It actually makes a difference. And that's something that you really need to bear in mind. If you need to stop a cap, there are ways of doing it. Which of course can help to delay the team. Now of course if you go in there alone, don't expect to kill them all on your own. That's not something that's viably going to happen. But what can happen is you can delay the cap long enough for your team to capture their base instead. And that can actually prove to be invaluable in those really, really close matches. So don't forget that that's a thing that happens. And try to make use of it where you can. Now we have lost 2 wheels on one of the sides. That's a Pyre missile going above us there. And I believe the guy with the autocannon is still hovering around here somewhere. Or he's been killed. Either one. So now of course you can see that guy getting hit by the missiles over there. So we really don't want to be on top of the mountain there. Our base is being captured, so I'm hoping that somebody is going back to the base. I don't know if anybody is. Right now I am trying to just get around this missile launcher guy, hoping to take him out before he damages too many of our team. But of course failing that, we can go into their base as well. And hopefully our team has enough time to go and stop them. And it's a win for us. Yes, I'm afraid that's all we have time for, and that's all my wheels can handle as well. But yeah, just as a sort of mid-tier grinding vehicle, this isn't bad. Of course, it is, well, the Workhorse Mark II, I guess, if you really want to call it that. And if you have a bunch of medium machine guns, this could be something you could go for. You could swap one of those out with a heavy machine gun instead. And that could also serve you quite well. Just bear in mind that using the rarer parts means more maintenance. And that's really it. And given the way the game works, of course, maintenance can be a very expensive thing. So if you choose to run more expensive parts, expect that you will be needing to be prepared if you are not in a team where it's going to ensure you a win. And frankly, that is likely to happen in most public matches. So go in there with expensive parts, be prepared to lose them, because they don't last forever. And my name is Panzer. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and comment down below if you have any questions. And don't forget to subscribe if you are new to the channel. And I'll see you next time.